We are very excited. Yes, we did. We built the best reporting suite in solar. Really excited to show you guys this today. This is our official launch. We've had a few customers beta testing it for the last few weeks and feel really good about it. So today we're launching with some new features, as well as talking about our roadmap here and the journey we've been on to provide this reporting to you. I would say that some of the feedback I get as I'm out visiting customers, especially larger ones, enterprise ones, is, hey, your reporting in Enerflo kind of sucks. And for a long time, we've had basic reporting. We've spent more of our time on kind of APIs and webhooks and other ways to get the data out. And so many of you have solved your kind of data or reporting needs by pulling data out of Enerflo and pushing it into a more robust reporting suite. I'm happy to announce today that you'll not have to do that anymore. We're really excited about what we've created and the ability to keep all of our data inside of Enerflo and launch a new reporting suite that you guys can leverage. Anyone who's new to Enerflo, I just want to give you a quick overview of who we are in case you're joining and you're not a current customer. One thing we do and why the data solution works so well for us is we take all the complexity out of a solar sales process and install process and put it into one cohesive flow and application suite. A lot of times what that means, you can consolidate a lot of tools you might be using. I've seen some Frankenstein setups by some installers where they're jumping in and out of 8 to 12 apps in order to do a deal. We want to bring that down with tech consolidation, let you use a couple key apps that are required, lower your costs, and improve your efficiency and well as reporting. There's a ton of tools out there you guys are all using, whether it's sales enablement tools, canvassing tools, design tools, all the financing options that exist today, CRMs, data suites, and a ton more. That's where we focus heavily on integrations, bring all that data into one place, and really become your solar operating system for you. We're not small. We've been around the block for a while, been doing this for about 6 years. Just to give you an idea of the tried and true nature of the Enerflo platform, we're seeing a ton of traffic on our servers and stuff every day. We have a ton of really good redundancy. Uptime is huge. We've learned a lot of things along the road. And we've done over 18 billion, that's with a B, solar projects have been signed on our platform over the last 6 years, something we're very excited about. So we're a very stable solution. Thousands of professionals rely on us to operate their business. And I think today with the reporting that we're launching, we even become a better tool to help you run your business. Wanted to give a quick kind of view of like why we decided to do this investment and take all the hours, countless hours to make this project a reality over the last really 12 months of us being on this data journey in order to bring this to you. If we really think about this year, it's been pretty crazy for solar. We obviously had the 25D sunset. There's been a huge rush of sales. I know you guys have been super busy this last quarter and probably will be busy in Q4 installing all those projects, people who wanted to buy cash or loan and get access to that 25D. Leases and PPAs have obviously gained a lot of market share. We've made a lot of investments on our platform to integrate with the top TPO providers in the nation so that as you guys are making that switch from cash and loan, we have all the TPO tools that you'll need. And then data, we're finding again, as I met with installers and talked about, hey, how are you forecasting? How are you predicting? How are you looking at modeling financials, commissions, different things like that? Just found that, man, there's a really big data need in the industry. And as we go on, still some uncertain times in the industry, having good data could separate you from running a great business and just running an okay business. Diversification, we're seeing that a lot. So installers starting to talk more about roofing, battery-only deals, HVAC, and other add-ons that can increase the kind of per ticket price. And then also cross sells as well, kind of part of that, of just diversifying how you guys can sell and how you're making money. And so with all of that predictability and kind of changes in the market, we really felt like there was a huge need for data and really feel like no other tools in Enerflo or in the solar ecosystem solve the data problem very well. And so we decided to go ahead and do that. First, I want to start with a quick poll for everybody listening. We just want to figure out, where is data used today to guide your business? Do you use it regularly? If you have great reporting, you feel really confident about it, you're using it daily to make your decisions. You just look at it occasionally, you have some data, but it's scattered, hard to use, or you just don't even really have data, or maybe you're just using spreadsheets today and feel like that's a huge need. Give you guys a couple seconds to answer that. Helps give me a view of where you are today in your data journey. And then as we continue to go through, see how we can help you with that. Let's give it about 5 more seconds and then let's close that one up. All right, how are we looking? Okay, so we're seeing about 25% have data using it regularly. That's great to see. About 17% not really using. The vast majority data is scattered and it's hard to use. And I hope today that we can solve that problem for you. Even the people who maybe have data regularly and drive every decision think we have some tools and things that can improve your data strategy and help you make even better decisions. And with that, as I was talking about this lack of data, as I've been talking to installers and just even distributors and lenders and others, there really is a lack of centralized data. And I really like this quote from Jeffrey Moore. He wrote a great book called Crossing the Chasm, anyone who's ever looked at startups and stuff. But so without big data analytics, companies are blind and deaf, wandering out onto the web like a deer on a freeway. And it really can be that way. If we're not looking at our businesses using data, tracking trends, then we really could be limited in the decisions where we can make. Let's launch the second poll just as a follow-up. That'll be the last poll for now, and then I'll dive into everything we have. So if, again, 58% of you feel like data's scattered and having issues, or maybe feel not confident in your data strategy, what's the biggest challenge you're having with reporting today? Is it that it lives in too many systems? The reporting you have is slow, maybe hard to update or hard to read, very time consuming. Maybe you're building these by hands at the month end, or maybe your controller is putting a lot of data together in Excel spreadsheets. Or you have some data, you just don't really trust it. Maybe it's coming from a bunch of sources. It's hard to join up. It's hard to bring it to what you need to actually surface it. Let's give that about another 5 seconds, see where you guys are at. And then we'll start jumping into the fun stuff here. All right, so data lives in too many different systems. We hear that one a lot, and that's one you'll see how we solve that problem today. Slow, clunky, not as much of a problem. Time consuming, maybe not as much a problem, but don't fully trust the data. That seems to be a big problem. And I can definitely understand that. When you have data in a bunch of different places and you're trying to join it together, it can be very hard to trust it, but also how to validate it and even know if the data is right can be very time consuming to do that. So what we're excited about, or these challenges that we know you guys face, is that one, a lot of times solving these data challenges we're talking about, you have to buy additional software. BI tools today can be very expensive. You could be talking about a six-figure contract just to have a very robust BI tool and have all the data you need from all of your sources. Cleaning up is a nightmare. Again, as I mentioned, we've been working on this for about a year of taking all the Enerflo data that we have, standardizing it in a way that actually makes sense, putting it in a format that can be queried, and we can ask questions and generate reports. So we know how hard that is. Also, data pipelines. So you guys were mentioning how your data is in a bunch of different places as a concern. Getting it from all those places and matching it up, taking a lead from your canvassing app, joining it to a deal in Enerflo, joining that to a project maybe in Salesforce, that can be very difficult if you don't have the right kind of data people maintaining those pipelines and ensuring that the data is coming across. Another one is expertise. Many of you guys I know don't have data scientists or data guys on staff. And so even just knowing who to turn to solve some of these problems can be difficult. And then business evolution, as your business changes, as you run contests or as you have new reporting needs. Right now with domestic content, that's been huge of having to track the right inventory and looking at where you might be able to get some safe harboring from lenders you're working with. That's an evolution that we probably didn't foresee a year ago, but data and tracking during that time would be really critical. So we know this sucks. And the reason why is because we've been doing this for you behind the scenes so that you don't have to do all of these things and you can rely on us to be your enterprise reporting suite. So this is what it looks like. We've built the data warehouse and moved all of your data into it so that it's queryable and quick and fast and easy for you to ask questions and get insights. This kind of shows all of the different data sources. You can see all of these different places that we're taking data from, pushing it into a data warehouse in Domo, and I'll talk more about Domo in a second. And then this down here shows you this is just one of our ETLs, which is a extract, transform, and load process, which basically takes data from a source, does a ton of manipulation, and then spits it out in a format that's usable. This is renaming columns, it's joining to other things, it's running calculations. So a lot of things that complexity, you can see the spider web of logic. This actually keeps going. If I had my screen long enough, it would go for about 3 times as long. That's just one ETL that we had to write for this. We have about 49 that actually run all of these data pipelines that you can now have access to. We're really excited to talk about this today, finally reporting for the solar industry that actually works the way you do. And we are leveraging the Domo platform. So the reason why I'm saying that is because instead of us trying to just build this ourselves, I think sometimes it makes sense to use the great tools that are out there. We ran a large process looking at a ton of BI tools, seeing what abilities they have, seeing how easy they are to use, and seeing which ones we can then turn around and give access to our customers. And Domo is really the head of the pack for us doing that diligence. And so essentially, the best way to think about this is we're taking all the rich Enerflo data we have, putting it onto Domo's warehouses, running all the transforming that I was talking about, and then giving you access inside of Enerflo back to that data. So you get to leverage the power of a very sophisticated and expensive, honestly, BI tool inside the Enerflo platform, giving you more data advanced tools than you're probably getting today. So let's look at actually what this looks like. This is what I've been waiting for. I think the story is just really important for you to hear of our journey and why we decided to make this investment for you. But now that we're inside, we're going to get really excited. So over here on the left, when this is turned on for you, you'll see a new reporting tab. And in that reporting tab, we will start adding more and more dashboards and things for you to look at. There will also be the ability to do custom dashboards. I'm going to talk about that soon. But out of the box, every single Enerflo customer gets the dashboard I'm about to demo for you. And we're going to continue to make that better and improve it and add more and more visualizations. Again, as we build those for you, they'll just show up and you can start using those. And then I'm going to show you later in this webinar how you can take what we have and then manipulate it on your own, create your own dashboards, create your own leaderboards, your own content. And that's really the exciting feature that we're launching today. So if you click on an installer dashboard, for example, it shows up right inside your Enerflo. And this is where we can start going over the data and the reports that we've created for you. Just to give a quick, this won't be a full training because that will take a very long time. But just to navigate it real quick, I'll show you a couple things. So one, if I click this controls button, I can then obviously change any date range I want. So by default, I'm doing the last 12 months, but we can make some changes and I'll show that in a second. But also you can add a filter on any single piece of data that we have. If I kind of start scrolling here, you're going to see a ton. I think we have about 250 columns that you can transform and look at different data, whether it's rep or office or a metric or a design or a proposal or a cost or lender. And we've tried to name them as best we can to kind of group them by stage and make it really easy for you to find. So a ton of just out of the box filtering and abilities for you to manipulate the data that's there. And let's go through a couple of my favorite reports. I don't have time to show you every single one. I think there's 150 separate reports that we give you access to, but I'm going to just cover a couple that I get really excited about. So for one, this very top kind of trends report, what we're looking at is how we're doing month to date. So the month of October compared to how we were doing in September, and are we up or down, and are we trending better? So you can see here in this case, I may be down on contract. I did 292 in September, 217. Now the month isn't over yet, so maybe I'm trending in the right direction, but I'm still from where I was at last month. I'm not quite where I was. Installs, however, you can see I'm actually up in installs. I've done 13% more installs during the same time period last month. I can also go 60 days back if I click. Now we're reporting away. How am I doing from a 60-day standpoint? How am I doing from a 90-day standpoint? Obviously, you could change the date filtering as well. But now I can also see what projects do I have in different buckets. In our install tracker, you can tag statuses of those projects. And I can see, okay, I have this many active, this many completed, this many that are maybe awaiting signature or voided or have a change order or need some rework. Here I'm seeing just a graph again of, hey, month over month installs, how am I doing? Down here, we have some timelines, and these are like key drivers again for an installer. What's my timeline of signed contract to actually getting it through review, signed contract to engineering, signed contract to permitting? This kind of shows all of those key dates and how long those are taking, your cycle times from signed contract to that time. Later, I'll show you how we actually have days in each bucket, but this one is just more showing, again, that contract start date all the way to the date we care about. Hey, what's my lender mix right now? And then a leaderboard. And we'll talk about more about leaderboards later and how those can be manipulated. But out of the box, we're showing, hey, here's all your sales orgs, here's the sales reps, here's the projects, here's system size. Now, this is where it gets super rad. If I see something like, oh yeah, the Enerflo Blue Office, I wonder how the Enerflo Blue Office is doing with all of these metrics. I can just click Enerflo Blue Office and everything now on the report changes. So now I'm only seeing month over month volume for that office. I can see installs. I can see my install timelines for that office. If I say, oh, this rep, Anakin Skywalker, he's been crushing it. Let me look at his timelines. He's sending me so many deals. I want to see my timelines for that rep. I can click just on his name, and now all the data I'm seeing is just for that one rep. So it's very interactive, and all the reports work together to make it just really easy to navigate. Now, there's other ways too to get into this. Again, I don't want to do a full training, but I'm just trying to show you all the robust features that exist. If on any of these, I decide I can click this little hover. So you see on any card, this little hover button, I can click that hover, and then you're going to see on the right, I can do some filtering. So if I just want to see, you know what, I only care about the blue office, it's going to automatically filter by the blue office. If I just say, oh, I just want to look at this other one, it'll do that. And so there are some quick filtering either by rep, duration, sales org, and that allows you again to just get to the data you want really quickly. So that is an overview page. Just again, to give you a quick pulse, how am I doing right now compared to a previous time period? That's really what that's answering. Now we can go a little deeper on some of these things. One is the trends tab, where again, we're just going to see those key stats. If we think of a pipeline, we have a deal created, a design created, proposals, contracts signed. We can look at all those key stats, how many installs, PTOs, look at that in a table, kind of heat map it and say, hey, how am I doing in October for deal volume, for design volume, for proposals, all the way through the other stages that we care about. From a lender standpoint, how am I doing with my lender stack? Where are my modules being sold? Again, this is the last 12 months. I could just change it to the 3 months. I could expand this and say, I just want to look at it by a specific sales org and add a filter. So again, ton of interaction to get to the data that you'd care about. Month over month performance, just those of you who've been on us for a while, you can see how you're doing from previous times. And that's just an overall trend report to help me see like, how am I trending? What metrics are changing over time? And also get a map view of where things are happening. Now let's get into projects. And this is really like the meat or the lifeblood for an installer. And this is where we have a lot of rich data, and we've done a lot of pre-calculations for you again, so that you don't have to. So one, I can see up here days to install. How long is it taking to get to install today compared to last month? How was I doing 6 months ago or this year? So you can already see I should be pretty excited. I'm trending lower than I was earlier in the year. So I've made some improvements. Can also click on KPIs, and we're going to look again at those KPIs. How am I doing on days to review, days to engineering, permitting, install, PTO? And then again, how many projects do I have sitting in certain buckets? I can see that here. Where am I installing the heat map? And if I actually pull this up and say, oh yeah, we're doing great in whatever, I want to see California, we just opened that market. Let's see how we're doing. I can click that button and it's going to then show me by zip code where I'm getting most of that volume. We created a deal completion calendar. So if you're like, hey, what are all the stage changes that happened back on Wednesday? How productive were we that day? Can click on the calendar. It's going to then pull up. I can then click in on a date, and it's going to drill down to all of those projects. Looks like we had a quick error, but it would drill down and show me all those projects that are within that date. And so again, we're trying to surface data, give you the insight, then let you drill down and get to the deeper data if you need to. Can see the same thing when we're looking at duration breakdown. So again, we were talking about how important it is to be tracking your milestones. And you can see here that I've pulled in the milestones from agreement signed, site survey, all the way to PTO. This is going to look different based on your setup. But for example, you might see that, hey, for whatever reason, when I'm doing engineering, why is it taking me 14 days on average for GoodLeap or 28 days on average on IGS, where maybe other lenders I'm going way faster? What is happening there? What about permitting? What around the type of work I'm doing with lenders like install complete or PTO, how might that be affecting my timelines? And so again, you can see, okay, we really want to see how we can get better on install complete. Looks like infin for whatever it's taking longer. Can then click and drill down. It's then going to show me those projects that are these huge outliers. So a great example of how you might use that is you go meet with your ops team and we say, hey guys, for whatever reason, we're slower on these projects. Let's pull up the exact projects, see how long it took for those, and let's have a staff meeting to see, okay, how do we get better and how do we get faster? And it's not only by lender, you could have sales org. So if I was an installer and I'm doing a QBR with a sales org, I could go to this Enerflo Red office and just be like, hey guys, did you know on average it takes us like 2 to 3 days more to review your projects than it does other sales orgs working with us? Here's the reason why. Here's the ones that are having a lot of issues. You can see this right here. And so if I'm meeting with that sales org, I can actually say, look, you're 9, our other sales orgs are 7, you're 2 days longer. Here's some projects just to show you. And look at all these outliers. And it's because you're forgetting your utility bill. It's because you're not using the title check inside of Enerflow. It's because you're trying to bypass project submission. You're not doing the welcome call. You're not getting your finance doc signed. So again, we surface the insight for you so that you can then go take action. Same thing with utilities. You might find that utilities are going super slow for certain milestones. And maybe you see an insight of, hey, the last 3 months, we are ripping in this utility. Let's create a spiff and tell our sales guys, hey, if you go sell in this utility for the next 2 weeks, we'll give you a 2-cent rebate or a 5-cent rebate or whatever. Same with state. Maybe states markets are going a little slower or faster. Maybe you've just opened a state and you're realizing like your timelines in that state are way behind what you're doing in another state. And so we just want to overlay data in a way that you can see this. And everything I'm showing you right now is free for every installer that's on the Enerflow platform. The other thing is like milestone analysis. How long are things on average sitting? And you can see, geez, right now, 18 days on average we're sitting. Let's go into that and let's talk to the team and see why. Why did this OBFET or Boba Skywalker, why were those 97 days? Why were they 100 days to permitting? Is that an AHJ we just shouldn't sell in right now because it's hurting our duration? So you can then see, again, the detail behind all these stats. You drill down and see the exact projects that you'd want to talk about. Same with performance. We're showing on average how tight your kind of windows are. Maybe you have some outliers and you want to see, okay, why in this stage are we not as tight as our other stages? What can we do to improve? So the whole goal is to give you data that can drive surface insights, give you data that you can then create action for. I'm going to rip through the rest of the reports because I want to show you some of the new features that we're really excited about. But we also have sales orgs, so you can see from an installer standpoint, hey, how are all my sales orgs doing? I just signed Enerflow Green Office yesterday. They promised the world. Are they actually selling what they said they're going to do? How are they comparing against everybody else? Let's look at a leaderboard again. Who are my top guys? Which sales offices do they operate in? Which sales orgs are driving me the most stages. So again, I'm like, hey, what sales org do I have the most permits with right now? I can then see that and say, oh yeah, Blue Office, we have a ton in permitting. Let's make sure we can crank through that for them. And then here, an average duration by sales org. So how long is each sales org sticking inside of like each one, and how long is it taking to get their projects through? Finance is one of my favorites. And as I've talked to as I've talked to installers, they get really excited about these. One, if you're using the finance integrations that are inside of Enerflow, we can provide some really rich data. One of them is decline rates, right? So we can see LightReach compared to some of these other ones. How are my decline rates with SunGauge? Looks like I'm getting 70% approval. LightReach, I'm getting 60% approval. How many declines do I have? How many kind of get stuck in pending? Pending means a STIP hasn't been cleared. Maybe that it was like got kickback from NTP, just hasn't moved forward. How many are getting stuck? Then you can also see maybe I have different sales reps that have higher decline rates. So again, I can go to these orgs and be like, hey, for whatever reason, your decline rate for this lender is way lower than someone else. Are you targeting neighborhoods that are low income? What is your strategy to find customers? And let's find opportunities for you guys to improve that. The other one is lender look order. This is like probably the first of its kind report in solar, but it helps you see which lenders you're trying first and then which ones your reps are trying second and third and fourth and so forth. Maybe again, you want to run a spiff and say, guys, we have the highest approval rate with LightReach. I want you guys all to try that first. And then you can actually track who is doing that by org and seeing if they're actually following that or not. Can also see, hey, when I do LightReach first look, what is my approval rate? When I use them as second look, what does that look like? So again, we're just breaking this down to help you see really good insights of the lenders you're working with and data that you probably have never seen before, but we're surfacing it and making it super easy for you guys. Last one I want to show is pricing insights. This is becoming more and more important with adders and competition and MPUs and different domestic content things. We pull in all of the pricing data that comes into a deal, and we can see, okay, over time, how for all of the contracts I said, how much am I paying in dealer fees? I think that's something installers actually don't track perfectly well. And to see it sometimes visually, holy crap, we're paying that much in dealer fees. Equipment adders, like how much when I'm adding if they select this inverter, I add 10 cents. What is the cumulative effect of those? Who is that impacting? Same with system adders as well. And so then you can actually come down and say, okay, I just want to understand better those system adders. What are those adders that are automatically getting added to every deal inside of Enerflo? So I click system adders. Now it's going to just pull for those. You can see then I have, okay, the high pitch adder that got triggered 1,400 times. Now I feel really good about that. Being the owner of Enerflo is that is an automated adder where you guys would have given us a rule to say, hey, if this house has a pitch greater than, let's say, 35 degrees, automatically add this adder. It shows that we did that 1,400 times for this installer, meaning that's money that was not lost by the rep because it automatically got added to the deal. So I can then say, okay, hey, let me look at my MPUs, or maybe I call it main panel. Actually, that would be a value adder. So value adder is something that someone adds later. So let's look at, sorry, I got to take off this filter. Let's go to value adder. And then we can let's do roof actually. So let's say, okay, how often this new roof or re-roof or roof work, how often were those coming in? Looks like we did 362 roof works. Let's see who actually did that. So over time, a 500K of roofing work. And then we can say, okay, 36 proposals included that. Which sales orgs did that? So it's like, okay, which of my top sales orgs are doing the most roofing? Maybe I go spiff those guys, or maybe I don't want a lot of roofing. And maybe I go talk to them and say, hey, why are you guys targeting so many houses that need roof work? So again, just surfacing those insights for you guys so you can have better discussions. All right. That kind of covers everything available for kind of the view only version that you all can get turned on today. Now let's talk about this pro version that we're launching today, which I'm super stoked and excited about. And that gives you ability to create your own dashboards, your own charts, your own data sets from all the data we're sending you. So show you what that can look like. Let's talk about a couple features and then we'll get into actually building something. Let's say that you guys are running a goal as a company, and your goal is to bring your install timeline in a given month below 45 days. So what you can do here is come into the report, go to the details, and you say, okay, first thing I want to do is set a goal. We want to have a company goal that's visual. I want to track it. I want to see how that's going. You can then click this goal button, say, I want to create a new goal. I'm going to do a new objective, and I'm going to call this install timeline. And then we'll say, okay, let's go forward. And you can say, okay, I want my summary number. I want it to be less than, let's call it 34 days. And I can even add a filter if I wanted to say, I only want to track this on a certain sales org. Maybe I want to spiff it in and be like, guys, if you can get your jobs into this, maybe I want to do it by a certain region and say, okay, this install timeline is only in the state of California because we just opened it. So let's make a goal as a company to get our install timelines below 50 days or whatever. So you can set any additional filter you want, and then you click next, create that goal. And then that's going to show up on your dashboard as something you can then track. So every day as we refresh your data, if that goal trips, you'll be alerted by it, and you can also track progress for it. Another really cool feature you can do in our pro version is I can set an alert. So I want to say, you know what? As soon as this drops below a certain amount, I want to know. For example, I could set an alert and say, okay, let's go into if this goes greater than 50 days. If my install timeline goes greater than 50 days, I want to know about it immediately. I say greater than 50, go next. I say what I actually want it to say. This could say, team, this sucks. Let's go. Let's change it, whatever. And then you can see over here, this is the message. Hey, the count of the install duration got greater than 60 for this date. We need to do something about it. You can even attach an action like setting up a task or schedule a report or something. But essentially, we're saying, hey, when this happens, send this message and send it to these people in an email. And so as soon as any of the data I've been showing you goes above or below, percentage change, anything, you get notified about it and you can then take action. So really great alert feature. You can set up as many of these as you want. Again, by org, by region, by lender, just whatever. So as you guys think about what are my goals for this month, set up goals and alerts and then automatically be told as those things are changing. So the other thing I want to show, which is really exciting, is let's talk about creating your own dashboard. So we're going to build a leaderboard together right now. I'm going to show you how easy this is. When you sign up for our growth version, we give you your own essential, basically license to Domo. You get to access all the reporting we give you, and you still have access to everything. So for example, this is that same installer report that I was showing before that you guys have access to. But let's say, you know what? I want to create my installs is really important for me. And so I want to put that on a dashboard that I'm creating that I'm going to share with maybe my regionals or some other thing. You can just come in here and say, cool, let's go to these details. I want to go ahead and copy this over, going to put it on my welcome, and I'm going to save that. Okay, so that now moved to that dashboard, and we'll show how to then arrange it. But I said we'd do a leaderboard together as well. So let's actually go back and say, you know what, this leaderboard Enerflo has is great, but it has a lot of metrics I don't care about. And actually right now we're running a promotion for TPO. And so I just want to run a leaderboard on TPO deals only. Okay, now this is why I got a lot of feedback with Enerflo for many years where you guys, when I'm sitting with you, are like, hey guys, hey, your reporting sucks. Your leaderboard you have, we don't do it off of deal count. We do it off of kilowatts. Or, you know, that leaderboard only matters for this month because we're running a promotion. It's cool, guys. I heard you. So now we just let you do whatever the crap you want. So you come in here and say, okay, this is a great starting point, but I want to make some changes. So same thing, come to card details. Let's say I'm going to move it and copy it. Let's move it to that same welcome and then save that. So now let's go back to my welcome dashboard. And you can see I have my dashboard here and I have these two reports that I decided to move in. They show up in the appendix first. But what I can now do is say, you know what, I'm going to move this around. Because installs is super important right now, I want to make that front and center. I'm actually going to put it right next to this video, and maybe I'm going to make it just a little smaller. And then I'm going to say, hey, for this appendix, this leaderboard, I want to move this right up here as its own thing, but I'm going to want to make some changes. So within this now, what I can say is, okay, I'm ready to make some changes, and we're going to go into, let's go into save as, leaderboard, and now let's make some changes. So this is where it gets really cool because we give you guys access to every column and every data that we've created, but we spent thousands of hours and dollars for to get this ready for you, and then you can build it yourself. So if I run this preview, you can see this now. Now, let's go with that example I said. You're running a promotion where you just want to track TPOs. And again, think of leaderboards as contests. You can track any contest you want now inside of this platform. So for one, you say, okay, we're not doing it by sales org. I don't care what sales org they're from. We're just doing it at the rep level. Cool, just come up here, remove that column. Then you say, cool, okay, that column's now removed. Now you also say, you know what, I only want to be tracking contracts signed from a specific lender. So you come over here, you search, you say, oh, cool, they have a lender name right here. I pop it up. I say, okay, I only want to match certain values. So I'm going to search for LightReach. Comes in, okay, I'm going to go with LightReach. So now I'm saying, okay, I'm only tracking deals that are actually signed through LightReach. Now I say, okay, I don't care about closing rate, designs, proposals, installs, none of that. I just care about signed contracts. Cool, let's just go ahead and remove those other columns. And let's preview that. So now we see, okay, I just built a leaderboard. It's LightReach only, showing me how many projects, what system size, gross cost. And then I can say, you know what, I'm going to name this just so it's very clear. This is the LightReach promo leaderboard. Now I'm going to save that, come out of here. Now let's go back to that dashboard and make sure that we put it in there. So this is the original one. This is the one we made. So I'm going to go ahead and edit my dashboard. Going to move this up and say, cool, now I have my kind of 30-day leaderboard overall. Now I have my LightReach only leaderboard. Click save. And now I have that front and center for my team or whoever I give this permission for. So it's just a really exciting thing that you guys now can do whatever you want with all the data we load in for you. And we've done all the hard work to let you just focus on the visualization and the actions that you might take. The last thing I want to show you guys is another pro feature that we're adding. And this is around actually having the ability to use AI. And this is something that will be coming soon that we're really excited about, but I just wanted to show you a real quick demo because this is going to get really exciting as we continue to roll this out. So if I click up here on the chat button, I can start asking questions about my data. So let's say, for example, what sales org has the slowest install timeline? Let's just try that. So I can then say that and say, hey, which sales org has the latest install timeline? We have trained all of your data columns to tell AI what things mean in context. And it says, okay, yeah, the Enerflo Green Office, they have the slowest install timeline. They're 56 days, where these other ones are 54 on 52 days. Then it creates a chart for you. And what I can say is then say, oh, cool, I want to now use that chart and put it to one of my dashboards. And so as we continue to train this and teach it what solar data actually means and what a sales rep is in the context of solar, or a setter or a project manager or a utility or an AHJ, all these terms, we're going to make it smarter and smarter, where you guys can just come in and ask questions using natural language and get insights and data back and get ideas of what charts or things you might want to build. So again, all super cool stuff. As you see, we've been working months on it. Let me go back to the slides just to wrap things up here. So one, yes, your mind is probably blown. My mind gets blown every time I play with this stuff. But just remember all the things that are here and available now. So we're integrating all of your data into Domo, which is a best-in-class BI tool. You get access to it. All of your data is in one place. You can create visualizations, charts, graph, tables, whatever you want. You can schedule reports, set filters, alerts, goals like we were talking about. You can export. I didn't really show that, but you can export to Excel or PDF or slides or anything else that might be helpful. And this is just the starting point. We're going to keep making this better. Other things we're really excited about that are not available today but are coming soon. We're working on benchmarking. This will allow you to see your timelines, your pricing, your adders, your pull-through rate compared against the rest of the Enerflo universe. Again, it's going to be completely anonymized, so you don't have to worry about any privacy concerns. The other thing we're going to do is pull in Ohm data. I know a lot of you guys use Ohm Analytics. We're going to pull in Ohm benchmarking into the support so you can get access to their data and know how you're doing compared to other installers in your market. So you can see here a draft of that. I see that I'm 36 days in the Florida market, where on average it might be 58 days. So technically I'm about fifth. I'm ranked fifth of all installers maybe on Enerflo, and then maybe I'm ranked 19th for the entire Ohm data set. So excited to bring that in as we finish that. The other one, which is probably the most important for everything we're talking about today, is forecasting. And we are using data scientists and machine learning and AI and all these things to create really great forecasting for you. And that'll give you a predictable pipeline. So you'll be able to say, hey, based on what contracts were signed yesterday and the historical pull-through rate of a certain sales org or sales rep or by market, what can I actually forecast will get installed week over week for the coming weeks? And be able to visualize that and actually see, hey, based on what was sold yesterday, what is my install pipeline going to look like 4 weeks from now? And that's, again, forecasting we just have not seen in the industry. We can help you predict, hey, what inventory am I going to need? If tons of panels were sold this last week, based again on contract signs, or maybe even go further back and say, what are sales reps pitching right now? Even if they're not closing, what is being pitched? That can then translate as well. Maybe sales dealer volume. We see a lot of times sales dealers come on board. They say, hey, we're going to do all this volume. Will you be able to track them and predict, okay, they just did 5 deals. Is that going to start affecting my crews? Maybe it's in a new market or some other place. But that'll help quickly surface what delays are happening. If there's any KPI slippage, again, of, hey, if typically we're working on a certain pace, but we're forecasted to be below that, or we're forecasted to have more installs in a given week than we'd ever had, maybe that means that, oh crap, we need to do something about that. Also find detractors. Maybe there is reps or sales offices starting to slip, starting to do less deals. We can surface those as well and show, hey, this one is trending below what they normally do. Are you aware of that? And surface that. Forecasting is a much harder problem to solve. First, we wanted to just get all the data in one place, give you access to it, let you start getting utility from it. But as we add forecasting, I'm really excited to put that in your hands as well. Last thing I'll say as we wrap up, because I know a lot of people are going to ask, what is the pricing of this? How does it compare to other things? Just kind of want to show this matrix to just remind you of everything I talked about. The essentials of what I showed of that, going through all of those cards, 150 charts for you guys to have integrated into Enerflo, that is free. Everybody gets that. You guys get to manipulate reports, export data, all of that. It's all there. Our growth package, right now, we're starting at a $399 add-on, trying to make it very affordable. If you think about what it costs to like go get Power BI or even Domo outside of Enerflo or other things, very expensive. So we're trying to make a package which is very affordable. But that's where you can start getting custom cards, building those leaderboards I was showing, building your own dashboards, setting up alerts, scheduled reports. That's all included, and that is ready today. We will also launch an enterprise package soon. It's just not ready yet. And that is what will have the benchmarking and the forecasting. Now, there are some add-ons. We know some of you won't have the ability to maybe build dashboards or reports, or maybe you just want one of our team members to do it for you faster than your own team. We'll have professional services for that. If you want insights and actions of custom views of people looking at your data and suggesting things what you do, that's something we want to add. Custom ETLs and writebacks and data sources, that's more along the lines of, let's say you want to bring in your QuickBooks data, or maybe you want to bring in data from NetSuite or other places that Enerflo doesn't technically touch today. That is also possible, and we can bring that in and then merge it with Enerflo data and give you even more insights. And then that data science I was showing you, where you can actually talk with the chatbot, it would be a small fee, like 20 cents, 25 cents per chat that you're doing, just to make sure, again, we're covering our costs that we have with the package we have with Domo. Now, we are going to run a promo for the first 10 people who get on our growth package. They will have no setup fee, because we are charging a $500 one-time setup fee to get your instance of Domo ready, bring all the permissions, bring your users in. It does take a little work. Anyone who signs, first 10 who sign up, we'll waive the setup fee, plus that $399. That's just our introductory kind of price. We think that might change over time as we add more features and as we continue to make it better. You'll also lock in your growth pricing for a year. So we feel like $399 as an add-on to get all of the stuff I was showing you today is pretty phenomenal. We're trying to save you money. Hopefully it means you can go cancel another either BI service, or maybe you're paying for an extra reporting package in HubSpot or some other CRM. My hope is that you can get rid of that completely and that this can replace it at a much lower cost. I need to breathe because, again, I'm just so excited. Put on some next steps here, and then let's go ahead, Rebecca, with the remaining time, look and see if I can answer any questions.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, does Enerflo track sales tax for cash and loan accounts, or in general?
Yeah, we do have inside of Enerflo a sales tax add-on that can be configured by state. You can't do it down to like county level. So it is something that we probably need to make more robust if you're really trying to get down to the county or city level sales tax. But at the state level, you can set a tax rate to include in your pricing.
Awesome. Thank you. How is Enerflow's reporting suite different than other reporting tools that are out there?
Yeah, from what we've seen, again, a lot of the reporting tools out there, let's take HubSpot or Salesforce, for example, you only can report on what you have in that tool, right? And so if you guys are using Salesforce today, you might be able to create some of these reports. I think it'd be a lot of work and very hard, but you're going to be missing any of your setter data, any of your finance integration data, any of your maybe costing data on the proposal itself. So one, I think that the fact that we put all of your data into a single place gives you more optionality and more data to actually build reports on. Number two, because we're giving you essentially full access to a very powerful BI tool, it's just better than anything we've ever seen. If we tried to create this, Domo is like a multi-billion-dollar company. If we tried to become a Domo and build everything they do, that would take us forever. And so we just felt like it's better to partner with somebody, give you guys access, let you unlock the power of the tool as if you were paying for your own license, but again, get the kind of huge discount we can offer by partnering with Domo.
Perfect. All right, we've got another one. Are there plans to incorporate lead metrics into the reporting dashboard in the near future? From what I understand, the current installer dashboard mainly tracks data from deal to installation, correct? Having visibility into lead metrics would be extremely valuable for internal reporting and strategic planning.
I love that. So that is a great question. And let me share my screen again, because I didn't demo this today just because of time, but we created all the same stuff. Give me 1 second. So if I go here. All right, so I didn't have all the time to demo this today. And actually, this is looking bad, but we have a sales dealer version that is just launching as well. So if you're a master sales dealer, we have a similar version which does introduce the lead metric. And again, my demo account doesn't have any leads, but if for an installer, they really get involved when a deal is created, because that's when the installer is selected. But for any of you sales orgs, you have leads and things happen before then. And so inside of this, it does look much different. We're able to look at again, more at the office level. So if you run a sales org, you're going to have offices. We pull those in for you. And then also, if I go to trends, I mentioned that before. We have leads here, and then come down in this table, we have a leads table showing that. And then in our leaderboards, if we go to sales offices, we can see installer leaderboard. So all the installers you're working with, you'll be able to track that. Sales office leaderboard, and that's where we can pull in closing rate. And then sales rep, we could look at, again, from lead all the way down. And then if I look at like lead source, this is pulling in all the lead sources that are coming in. So VSR, Setter, Facebook, Mailer, where are those lead sources coming from? Tracking that all the way down to the install. And so, yes, that was feedback we got before. The sales version is launching this week as well. We've done a lot of work to get that. And so if you are a master sales org, talk to your PSM and we will get that turned on for you.
Amazing. Thank you. Okay, time for maybe just a couple more. For companies that aren't like data experts, how easy is it to start just using the new reporting suite?
Yeah, so I think the view only is very intuitive. We turn it on for you, you go in, you just start clicking stuff. You can't break it because it's view only. And that's a really good way to just get started and get familiar with how these reports look and feel and some of the options. Your PSMs are also being trained on this, on how they can help you. And when they meet, they can do a training. We're also going to be building Enerflow specific trainings, a whole video library that we'll be sharing as well. And then that'll also help if you do move to the growth package, learning how to build reports, moving around columns, writing calculations. Yeah, a little more sophisticated, but there are some trainings that Domo has, like Domo University is a great place, but we're also creating a training library as well to help walk you through that. So we plan on supporting you as best we can. Again, if you're just, hey, I want to pay for the ability, but I don't want to do any of the work, no worries. You can just put in tickets like you normally do, and our team can build the dashboards or reports or things that you want for you.
Super cool. All right, we have a couple more. Is the sales dealer dashboard included in the free plan?
Yes. So if you're a sales dealer on Enerflow, then we can turn that on for you.
Sweet. Curious to learn more about the upcoming benchmarking tools. What are the biggest benefits they'd provide?
Yeah, so I think a lot of times as an installer, even as a sales org, you're running your operation, you're doing your best you can, but you think, okay, hey, I'm 45 days to install in my market. Is that good? Is that on par? And I think that's why a lot of you have subscribed to Ohm Analytics. You can log in and see everybody else. Now, Ohm Analytics, they only start from permitting. That's their day one, because that's when they get their data to install. That they're only looking at that one slice where we can look back and say, hey, from contract signed to install or to PTO, and just help like how you're doing in your market compared to your peers. So I think it's all about just helping you understand where you stand in the universe and help educate you on if you're an outlier or not. And then also just pulling the Ohm data in makes it easy so you don't have to go to Ohm necessarily to track how you're maybe doing on your install timelines or volume compared to other people in your market.
Fantastic. I think that covers it. Do you have anything to add, Pat?
No, I just, any Interflow partners on today, we appreciate you and your support and your patience on us doing something good. I think with Interflow, maybe sometimes it takes a little longer than you want to get something done, but when we do it, it's usually pretty amazing. And we feel like today with this reporting suite launch, we've really leapfrogged anything else in the industry. So it's probably worth the time you waited, but now we're excited to get it in your hands, get your feedback, and keep iterating and make it better.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. For any newbies, you can go to enerflow.com/reporting, learn more, book a demo. As a reminder, the new reporting suite, the basics are included with every Enerflow subscription, and then there are more advanced features coming, as Pat described. We'll send out a follow-up email with the recording, as well as details on next steps, how to get started. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, Pat. Super
Thanks,
exciting for
Rebecca.
this new reporting suite. Have a great day,
Absolutely.
everyone.
Thanks all. Go crush it. Bye.
Thanks.